Good afternoon, it's Friday, December 11. I'm Anthony Lugg with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. Up first this afternoon, Norman Horne has advised the Governor General of his intention to resign from the Senate. In a statement, Mr. Horne says he has requested that the necessary steps be initiated to rescind his appointment. He says the decision was made after lengthy discussions with family and close friends. On the matter of his U.S. citizenship, Mr. Horne says this can be a lengthy process, further complicated by COVID-19 protocols. He says, as occurred with a former PNP senator in 2012, it is common practice that the renunciation process is completed following the appointment to the Senate. He adds that after the announcement that there would be an election for a new party leader, he decided not to further pursue renunciation. He admitted that despite not having taken an oath, he was remiss in not delivering his resignation to the Governor General in keeping with his statement. In the meantime, speaking on Radio Jamaica's call-in program Hotline, Mr. Horne said his letter indicating his intention to resign was delivered to the Governor General's office today.
Today to the Governor General's office.
Why was it only just delivered after your promise in an October 10 letter to deliver it by the 6th of November 2020?
Emily, that's an interesting place to start, but I guess the matter goes back before that. It goes back to the 14th of September, when the then opposition leader advised me to prepare myself for the appointment of senator.
The U.S. State Department has announced sanctions against 6 former members of the now disbanded Crime Management Unit, as well as their immediate family members. According to a statement yesterday from Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, the 6 Jamaicans were among 17 individuals from various countries who have been sanctioned. More from JANELLA PRECIUS.
The State Department announced the public designation of Devon Bernard, Renito Adams, Patrick Koch, Shane Lyons, Leaford Gordon, and Roderick Collier. The immediate family members are also covered by the designation. Individuals and the immediate family members who are designated publicly or privately are ineligible for entry into the United States. Renito Adams was appointed to lead the Crime Management Unit in 2000. The unit was placed in the spotlight following the controversial killing of 4 persons in Crawle, Clarendon on Tuesday, May 7, 2003. 45-year-old Angela Richards, 38-year-old Ferris Luena Thompson, Matthew James, and a man known only as Renegade were killed during an alleged shootout with members of the Crime Management Unit. After several weeks of investigations in the aftermath of the killings, Mr. Adams and 5 members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force were charged with murder. They were, however, acquitted in December 2005.
4 people were killed in Planters Old Harbour in St. Catherine in the early hours of the Friday morning. It's understood that the deceased includes 3 men and a woman. TVJ's Kirk Wright was on location this morning and filed this report.
Thank you very much, Anthony. Now, I'm in Planters, and Planters is in the Old Harbour community in St. Catherine, where 4 persons were shot and killed this morning, 3 male and a female. Now, the 3 males are relatives. One is Richard Wright and his brother Omar Wright and their cousin Lester Harvey. Residents say to us that at about 1:30 this morning they heard several shots in the community, and following which they heard screams. On investigation, the bodies of the 4 persons were found. 3 were found in one house, and another was found in a separate house just across the road. The police say they're not sure of the motive for the killing, but several persons here have told us that it could be related to the guns for drug trade. One of the men who died, Omar Wright, was a known troublemaker in the community. His mother spoke to us when we asked her about that.
And I say him is not a troublemaker. Right? It's not so you call a troublemaker. Troublemaker go around and pick trouble with people. And pick trouble with people. That is not. If the person going to him with certain things, then he make affliction. That is it.
Mom, how you feel about you lose two sons?
I'm feel very down, because rather at them come and then shooting and take their life like say it's not somebody, a bird season then go pan.
The police in charge of the area have said to us that they'll be putting, a contingent in the area to prevent any possible reprisals.
The police will be maintaining a presence in the community for some hours, right? And the investigation continues.
Can you say though if you're getting good intelligence so far on this?
Well, we are following some leads right now, which we cannot disclose at this moment.
Anthony?
Thank you. Former Education Minister Ruel Reid, Caribbean Maritime President Fritz Pinnock, and their three co-accused will hear today whether the corruption case against them will be dismissed. Chief Parish Judge Chester Crooks is to decide on the application filed by their legal team. Attorney Hugh Wildman argued in October that the Financial Investigations Division, FID, is an investigative body and does not have legal authority to bring criminal charges or obtain a fiat from the Director of Public Prosecutions to prosecute the defendants. Mr. Wildman said the FID therefore acted illegally. The other three accused in the case are Mr. Reid's wife, Sharon, their daughter Cheryl, and Counselor for the Brownstone Division, Kim Brown Lawrence. They were charged in connection with a fraud and corruption probe into transactions at the Caribbean Maritime University. And on an editorial note, on Thursday during our midday newscast, we showed the image of Constable Fabian Morrison on the ground after being hit from his motorcycle on South Camp Road. This was an error and should not have been aired. We apologize to Constable Morrison's family, friends, and colleagues in the force. And it's now time for a break. Stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back. Continuing the news. Not changing course, Mayor of Montego Bay Leroy Williams is standing by his decision to cancel Grand Market in the Western City. Vendors in the town protested against the decision on Monday, but the mayor is adamant that he will not entertain the event in a bid to get a grip on the spread of COVID-19 in the parish. More in this report.
As mayor of this city, I will not be encouraging, entertaining, or permitting the gathering of large crowds that would possibly cause the spread of the deadly coronavirus.
Mayor of Montego Bay Leroy Williams responding to vendors regarding the cancellation of Grant Market in the Western City. On Monday, the vendors staged a protest demanding that the mayor reconsider the vending times for Christmas Eve. But Mr. Williams is standing by his decision.
There will be absolutely no Grand Market. The vendors have designated streets to vend. They know the streets. I have met with them and asked for their cooperation.
He insists that his decision to not stage Grand Market is to prevent a further spike in COVID-19 cases in the parish. In recent weeks, Westmoreland and St. James have been recording increased cases. And so, as part of measures to prevent large gatherings and simultaneously limit the spread of the virus in the city, the vendors will be allowed only 8 hours to conduct their business Christmas Eve.
The vending time is from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. with an hour to pack up and go on the yard. And that is before the curfew time at 10 p.m.
However, there's an exception for Christmas Day, Boxing Day, and New Year's Day.
Vendors can come out on those days at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Curfew will be from 7 to 5 a.m. And that is why I have decided that they can come out as early as 10.
A cluster of COVID-19 cases has been detected at the police academy in Twickenham Park, St. Catherine. News came last night that the St. Catherine Health Department was called to the facility after a number of persons displayed symptoms of the respiratory illness. 280 junior and senior recruits as well as instructors were tested for the virus. 47 persons, including 2 instructors, were found to be positive for COVID-19. The health department has ordered that the section of the campus be quarantined and the positive patients isolated. Medical Officer of Health for St. Catherine, Dr. Francine Prosper Chen, says in coming days, 400 instructors as well as medical and ground staff members on the campus will be tested for COVID-19. The Health Ministry says the cluster has contributed to the increase in the number of COVID-19 cases in Twickenham Park. Central Village is also on its radar. Now, Central Village has been named as one of the top 20 communities with active cases of the virus. Jamaica's COVID-19 death toll remains at 270 as the country recorded no new case in the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, 66 new cases were recorded in Jamaica yesterday. The country's case count now stands at 11,509. Their ages range from 4 months to 82 years. Kingston and St. Andrew recorded most of the cases, followed by St. Catherine and St. James. The Health Ministry says 82 patients remain hospitalized with the respiratory illness. 8 are critically ill. And Industry, Investment and Commerce Minister Audley Shaw is expressing concern over the continued sluggishness of the Jamaican economy. He was speaking at an event in Kingston earlier this week.
Jamaica has a problem for far too long of low growth in the economy. We cannot create wealth without growing the economy. And we cannot grow the economy unless we significantly increase productivity.
In the meantime, concern had been raised about the well-being of the minister when he was sworn in as Portfolio Minister for Investment, Industry and Commerce, but Mr. Shaw is in much better spirits presently. The leadership of the Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency, PICA, says its passport production and issuance operations have been ISO 9001 certified. The announcement follows the completion of a 9-month preparation process and a Stage 2 audit. Chief Executive Officer of PICA, Andrew Winter, says the upgrades mean another branch of the agency is now world standard.
Each of these standards we're demonstrating to the world that PICA is a global organization that means business. PICA, why shouldn't PICA be the passport agency for the rest of the Caribbean? Because we're a world-class agency delivering a world-class service and a world-class product. What is stopping us?
Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of National Security, Matthew Samuda, says the improvements in PICA's operation is also good news for border security.
Because PICA is the first point of contact for our visitors that come to our shores on a daily basis. And as we have all seen since the impact of COVID, create a critical influx of foreign exchange and are a critical part of our economy. So PICA both protects us and helps us to grow.
To news in sports now, the West Indies will be hunting quick wickets when play resume on day 2 of the second and final test against New Zealand at Hamilton. The hosts will resume on 294 for 6 in their first innings when Nichols 117 not out and Kyle Jamieson will return to the crease for the home team on yesterday's opening day. Darryl Mitchell also made 42 and Will Young 43 for the Black Caps, who were sent to bat by the Caribbean team. Shannon Gabriel has been the pick of the Windies bowlers with 3 for 57, while debutant Shamar Holder has taken 2 for 65 so far. Wicketkeeper Joshua Da Silva is also on debut for the Windies. In assessing the team's performance, Shamar Holder says they will now be looking to restrict New Zealand to a 350. In the first innings, New Zealand captain Kane Williamson is not contesting the match as he's away on paternity leave. The Windies are seeking to level the two-match series. And that's the midday news. I'm Anthony Lugg. Join us at 7 for primetime news. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.